Hello everyone. It's time for an update on some of the progress I made with the carving project. It's not much progress, but I can show you what I've done so far. So the first thing that I did was I made a tracing from my computer and I put the picture of the shark in I open it with HTML, which I believe is what I do, and then I use the settings to expand it by a certain percentage. So in this case, it was like 157% or whatever. But I make note of that because I do that so that in case I need to refer back to it again. So what that did was it gave me the largest drawing that I could fit within the block, and I was limited in the width between the two fins that come out from the side. So I have extra length, but in order to make the fish that long, the block would have to be wider. So my first constraint was in the width of the block. So I came up with this tracing. So then I put this white paper over my computer screen and I traced the carving from the side view. Not the carving, the drawing from the side view. So I get this drawing right here. And then this, at the same scale, I was able to do the view from, I believe this is the bottom of the animal. And it's in the same scale. So then what I did was I divided the drawings up by half-inch increments. And because I had one flat spot on the block, I was able to do this part of the drawing without the tail on the flat spot. And what I did was, because this drawing is the animal is straight, and what I don't want to do is turn the fish into like a streamlined object, rather than something that's portraying a living animal. So I decided to put a curve into it. So along those half-inch segments in the tail, I twisted it slightly. And the result is this drawing in the block, which you can see it curves. It curves a little bit in this direction. And that's going to be fine. And so now what I have to do, because this is so irregular now, is plot the lines this way so that I could start reducing this and be able to do the final shaping. So I need some lines on here that will guide me into how I can rough it out. So I already have this roughed out. Now I want to do the same thing along here and have something that I can guide myself with confidently. That's really the key, because I'm not a carver. So probably, and I don't know how anyone would do this any other way. I don't know how to do it. So this is the way I'm going to approach it. So what I did was I created a copy of this drawing and I put it on this paper so it's a little firmer. And then I transferred this shape to a wooden shape so that I could lay it over this. And if you remember how I was tracing the totes for the big joiner planes, where I laid the plane with the tote over a blank piece of paper and then projected through it with my square and carefully marked it out and then got the rough shape from that. So that's what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to lay this over the blank, and then I'm going to project through, because this is an irregular shape that I have now in the blank, and this is flat. So what I have to be able to do is project down from a point on this shape and project down into the block and make a mark and then move it down. And I might have to lengthen or shorten this and try and chase this shape by holding it steadily over the block that I have now and project these points down so that I could start roughing it out in the second direction. So that's where I'm at with that. Now, there's another thing, because I have done one other carving in the past. And what I did was I wanted to be able to keep the carving symmetrical in relation to the center line. So what I did was I created pieces of cardboard that look like this, and there's a center line right here, okay, and then these are numbered. So if you go back to this drawing, every half-inch increment is also numbered. They're numbered down here, and the dimension at that cross section is up here. So what I did, so on this there's 1 through 8 up to the fin in the back, which I'm calling the nose, and then from behind the fin all the way to the tail is 10 to like 23. So I have a corresponding piece of cardboard that's numbered the same number as the line on the drawing, with the same dimension as the line on the drawing, with a center line. So this will be basically like a crude, I forget what you call these, dividers, I think you call these or something. But anyway, so this is going to be a crude way of keeping the carving centered on the center line and at the proper width based on where that cross section falls on the drawing and where the cross section falls on the blank. And that will roughly guide me. So every time I go forward or backwards, then I have to change the piece of cardboard. So like for instance, this is 17. So the one before it is 18 and the one behind it is 16. And I'll keep them in order and keep referring. And so I have a set of pieces of cardboard for each drawing. So I would have, when I'm dealing with this drawing, the piece of cardboard is from the side of the carving, and when I'm dealing with this drawing, the piece of cardboard is for coming above or below the animal and gauging the width along each segment, each half-inch segment as I go up. And that's going to help me balance the carving and try and get some, what I would call, like, for lack of a better term, the nuance. Because if you really look at the animal, they're not shaped like a water balloon. They have form to them. There's muscles in the fish, there's body structure, and so I want to resist the urge of turning the animal into something that looks like a tube. And I'm not a carver. I really have a lack of confidence in any of this. So what I'm trying to do is work my way through these problems like Fred Flintstone style. That's what I'm doing. And so that's the best I can do. But I'm having fun doing it. And we're at the end of the summer now. And I think I'm going to have more time as my sort of warm weather activities fall to the wayside and things get cooler. I could go outside, I could do other things, I could come back in here. Once it gets really cold and I'm not doing anything outside, I'll be inside and I can do this. And this is the kind of work that I can do inside my work facility without making too much of a mess, because it'll be mostly chisel work and stuff like that. I do intend to use the plane maker's floats like I did on my last carving, but I have more floats now. So I expect to do that, and chisels and whatever else. So I'll put the camera down for now. That's pretty much where I'm at. And I'll see if I could film some more and maybe turn the camera on as I'm carving, and maybe 1 or 2 more progress videos before I wrap it up. And it's going to take me months. It's the middle of September right now, and I would say this will go well into the spring of 2025. So it's really not something, that we all have to wait on pins and needles for me to do, because that's not going to be the case. Have a good day, everybody. Stay strong. Stay in the game. Thank you. I'm still working on the shark. So I still have the lines on the bottom. And what I decided to do was work off these lines and just come back square off the bottom up to the line, more or less close to the line, and try and get the shape of the fish closer to the finished profile while I still have these lines on the bottom, because once I remove this, then I really have no way to dimensionally navigate the carving. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You can see here. So when this was all the full block, I basically took the back saw and I segmented all this and got up to here. And then on here, I drew a rough drawing of the shark just to give myself an idea. But I decided that I didn't want to, for instance, remove all this because then I would lose the bottom. So I have the top. I didn't have any original lines on the top because this was the perimeter of the log up here. This was all round. So that's where I am now, and I'm using my regular chisels, my hand planes, my slick chisels for timber framing, whatever I need to do to accomplish this. And since I'm not a real good carver, I'm just proceeding slowly. So that's really where I'm at now, and I'll try and film something in the future and give you a better idea of the progress.